All right, folks, we're going to do something a little bit different today. We are going to count down the top 5 songs of a band most of you don't know even 2 songs from. What am I talking about? Well, you'll find out next on this edition of CHRIS Akin Presents. What's going on, everybody? It is CHRIS Akin, and it is time once again for another edition of CHRIS Akin Presents. Before I get started, let's do all the podcasty stuff, shall we? Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of this stuff. And leave a comment and leave a like or a dislike, whatever it is, if you hate this stuff. I think you'll probably like this one today. And if not, you'll probably skip it here in the next 10 seconds when I tell you what we're doing today. So today on CHRIS Akin Presents, I want to do something fun since I've been stuck in this murder porn world of just absolute horror. So I decided to go and do a top 5 of one of my favorite bands. And as any of you know that listen to me on CMS or any of my other stuff, I am definitely not a hits guy. I do not lean toward the music that was, popular necessarily. So I'm going to go to the hair band era, sorta. But one of my 2 favorite hair bands, well, I'll just tell you, my 2 favorite hair bands of all time are, number 1 is Love Hate. I love that band. And, some of you probably remember Why Do You Think They Call It Dope or Blackout in the Red Room. And that's probably as far as you go, because they really did not have a big career as far as sales, but they were fucking great. Their albums rule. So I definitely recommend you get those. And then the other band, and this is another band that is out there still today, but did not get any love from any of y'all that are my age, and I don't understand why. The band is called Junkyard. Now, Junkyard is kind of an amalgamation of a lot of things. If you took Steve Jones out of the Sex Pistols and you put him in AC/DC, that's kind of what you would get with Junkyard. Although David Roach, the singer, is definitely better than, he's a better singer, pure singer. And don't start emailing me, people. He's better than like the Bon Scott sound or the Brian Johnson sound. He's not a gravelly guy. He's got a much cleaner voice. So Junkyard, the thing about Junkyard is that they were very diverse. They were blues, rock, metal, more metal than rock, but certainly rockish. But when they went bluesy, they went deep bluesy. And when they went rock, they went deep rock. They're a little scattered, and it's probably what cost them. And they really didn't look the part. They didn't look hair metal-y at all. They definitely looked like a fucking bunch of bikers. So I understand, I guess, why they didn't get huge, but I don't understand musically why they didn't get huge, because they were great. Their first 2 releases, which were the popular ones, the self-titled and 6s, 7s, and 9s, had their MTV hits. Most of you, if you were around in that time, you might remember the song Hollywood. You also might remember the song All the Time in the World from 6s, 7s, and 9s. And I'll give you a hint. Neither of those are on my top 5 because I'm an actual fan. I'm not just some glossed over listener to the band. So I thought, what the hell? Why not count down my top 5? And maybe some of you will hear something that you like. And maybe you'll go back and you'll listen to these records. And honestly, you can support them today. They are still out there, and they're still putting out quality releases. I have 2 songs on my top 5 that come from more recent records. So, Junkyard is still active and still good. So I definitely recommend you go to Spotify or you go to YouTube Music or Apple Music, whatever the fuck you use, and you check out Junkyard because they are a great band. All right. So let's get into it. We will go with my top 5, going from 5 to 1 of Junkyard songs. And I'll play you guys a little piece of each one so that you get a taste of what they're about. And like I said, they're still making music today, which is really strong. And that comes right at number 5 for me. There's a song out here called Fall to Pieces. It is from their album of a few years ago called Old Habits Die Hard. Um, Great release, fucking awesome Junkyard album. But this song kind of brings it. And this will give you a good feel of what Junkyard is. So let's check out a little bit of Fall to Pieces, which is number 5 on my top 5 Junkyard songs of all time. There's a little piece of Fall to Pieces. That is Junkyard, number 5 on my top 5 Junkyard songs of all time. That, of course, coming from Old Habits Die Hard, which is out there today. Go get it. Go listen to it. It's fucking killer record. The whole album is great. So that's number 5. Number 4, we are going to go old school. We're going to go back to 1991. This was their second album. It was the one that I think most people thought was going to either propel them or end them, and it really didn't do either. It's a great record. It was not as good as the debut. I will say that. It definitely, it's smoothed out a little bit. Like they sort of, the record company dicks, rub the edges off of the band a little bit. Still a great album, but not nearly as good as the debut, the self-titled debut. But this song was, this is my favorite song on it. The hit was called All the Time in the World, and that was kind of it was a cool song. It was a little more slowed down. It was bluesy. If you guys listen back to it, you old folks, you'll go, oh yeah, I sort of remember that song, but you'll probably go, but I never knew who sang it. Well, you probably never heard this song that I'm going to play for you right now, but it is killer. It's fast and furious. It is a song from 6s, 7s, and 9s called Nowhere to Go But Down. This is Junkyard. This is my number 4 song in the history of Junkyard. It's Nowhere to Go But Down. Yeah, it's Nowhere to Go But Down. That is Junkyard here at number 4 on my top 5 Junkyard songs of all time. So we are moving forward. We're going to move forward to number 3. We're going to go I guess this is a ballad, but man, this is one angry fucking ballad. As ballads go, they're usually these heartfelt, warm, lovey-dovey songs. Well, this is just the opposite of that. Um, this one comes from the debut release, and regardless of you if you like the music or not, because it is definitely a slow, mellow, acoustic sort of song. But if you've been in a bad relationship with a cheating bitch, you will certainly relate to this song. This is a breakup song with a bitch that cheats and cheats with your best friend. The song is called Hands Off. It is from the self-titled debut. And wow, it is angry as fuck. And lyrically, you could certainly relate to this if you've ever been involved with a cheater. So check this one out. We'll play a little bit of Hands Off from the debut from Junkyard. I think that was 1989, maybe. So check it out. Hands Off, Junkyard. So you can feel that one. That's a that is an ugly breakup song if ever there was one, and certainly we've all been there. A lot of us have been there. I have been there. That's for damn sure. And it is not fun to go through, to say the least. But great fucking song, and wow, it gets angrier as we go. If you haven't heard that song before, make sure you check it out. Hands Off. It is from the self-titled debut from Junkyard. It's number 3 on my list. Could be number 1 depending on if you're in a shitty relationship or not. It could certainly become your divorce song, there's no doubt. And I will say, when I went through my divorce, Hands Off got played a hell of a lot. So number 3 for me from Junkyard, Hands Off. All right, moving up, number 2. This one is a shocker to me. And it might be to you too if you are a Junkyard fan, because you probably, even if you are a Junkyard fan, you may not know this one. This is off of one of their way more recent releases called High Water. This was, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, I think. They put this album out, and it kind of came and went, and nobody talked about it. I picked it up, and I loved it. And it has it's probably my number 2 favorite album of theirs behind the debut. I mean, like everybody else, I love the debut, but High Water is probably the second best album in their catalog. It's just meaty and angry and kind of punky and certainly metal. It's just a great release. And this tune is just furious. And it sounds a lot like the ones that we've been playing, other than Hands Off, but it's just a furious one, and and the message is great, and the sound is just awesome. So let's check it out. This is number 2 for me. This one is called We Fuck Like We Fight, which is a fantastic title if ever there was one. We Fuck Like We Fight. It's number 2 from Junkyard from the High Water release in the top 5 Junkyard songs of all time. We fuck like we fight. We smash everything in sight. That is a fucking great lyrical piece there. Good stuff there from Junkyard. Number 2 on my list of the top 5 Junkyard songs of all time, which of course leads us to number 1. Like I said, their 2 biggest hits are not on my list. Those would be Hollywood was their biggest hit, and then All the Time in the World from 6s, 7s, and 9s. Also not on my list. They're great songs, though. Don't get me wrong. But truthfully, Hollywood might make my top 10. The other one would definitely not. They're just such a great band. They had so much more to offer than that. So to recap real quick before I get to number 1, Fall to Pieces from Old Habits Die Hard at number 5. Nowhere to Go But Down from 6s, 7s, and 9s at number 4. Hands Off from the debut at number 3. And We Fuck Like We Fight from High Water at number 2. Brings me to number 1. This has been my favorite song since I got the tape. And I still remember everything about getting this tape. I bought it. I guess I'll share shit that's fucking awful, but whatever. So I was in the military in rehab because I drank like a goddamn fish all the time, and I got sent to rehab. And when I was in rehab, one of the things that we did was they took us to the drugstore to get it was like a field trip. It was like our first chance to get out in like a month. So we got to go to the drugstore to buy like shampoo and toothpaste and shit like that. And me being the music dork that I am, I grabbed some toothpaste and I grabbed some shampoo, but then I went right over. It was one of these drugstores back in those days. They used to have like one little cart of music. And in it was this band that I had never heard of, but it looked kind of metal, as you'll see when I pop up song. The cover looked kind of metal, and the band was called Junkyard. So I bought the cassette just like that. And it became my kind of rehab album. And, I played it nonstop in my Walkman for the entire time that I was there. And then probably for another, 30 years since. It's always in my player, even today. So, but I remember specifically when I heard this song, and it's like track 8 or 9, or it's like the second from last track on one of the sides of the tape. I know that. And I just remember when I heard it, I was like, yep, that's my fucking jam. And it's still my fucking jam today from Junkyard. It's the one I always go to when we're doing CMS and Dealey asked me to pick a Junkyard tune. This is always the tune I pick. It is by a million miles my favorite song that they've ever done. I'm going to share it with you right now. It's from the debut release. It is called Can't Hold Back. So let's check out a little Junkyard with Can't Hold Back, my favorite of all the Junkyard songs of all time. So check it out.
Well, like the
yeah. Can't hold back no more, baby. That is Junkyard, number one. Best tune in their catalog as far as I'm concerned, with Can't Hold Back from the self-titled debut of Junkyard. And this has been a lot of fun to actually do this. So one more time, the top 5 of Junkyard. Fall to Pieces from Old Habits Die Hard. Nowhere to Go But Down from 6s, 7s, and 9s. Hands Off from the debut. We Fuck Like We Fight from High Water. And Can't Hold Back. Now, the interesting thing with Junkyard, too, is I could probably do another one just of ballads, because they have 5 great ballads. You know, songs like Hands Off is a good one. Simple Man is a good one. Slipping Away is a good one. And I'm positive if I go back and listen, I'll find 2 to 10 more. So great fucking band. If you like that kind of bluesy, I don't know what you call that, southernish rock and roll sound, you know, like Rhino Bucket or them, Junkyard, or there's a bunch of those bands out there. American Dog, Salty Dog, you know, tons of those bands that are out there. But to me, Junkyard was the best of the bunch, and I love them to death. And I will at some point probably do their top 5 bluesiest ones and their top 5 ballads, because they are that kind of a cool band to me. And I know that I'm in the minority on that, and that's okay, because you know what? You're still listening. So there we go. So, all right, that's going to do it for this edition. Let's try that again. That is going to do it for this edition of Chris Akin Presents. For Chris Akin Presents, I have been Chris Akin, and guess what, folks? I will be again tomorrow. See ya! What's up, everybody? It is Chris Akin, and I just wanted to let you know of a special deal I've got going on for this bad boy right here. There it is. Judas Priest Cause and Effect Turbo. My book on the album Turbo from the band Judas Priest. I just uncovered a box with a few more copies of it that are autographed. So if you have been waiting and looking for an autographed copy of Cause and Effect Turbo by me, it is now available for a very limited time. Like I said, I only found a few copies, but if you want a copy, it is yours for the having. So just go over to ChrisAkinBooks.com, and it's right there for purchase. Just click on the one that says autographed copy, and it's all yours, all right? So get it today one more time. Where is it? There it is. Cause and Effect Turbo, my book on Judas Priest. Peace.